How you doing, everybody? Hi, Val and Abdul, Richard L. How are you? Oh, well, guys. First of all, let me test all the equipment. Is the video and the sound okay? I'm going to turn this off. Off it goes. Boom. Wrong bill. This is. I look more like Haystack Magoon with my lockdown haircut. Oh, good. Oh, um, so what's new with you guys while we're waiting around here? Anything new and good and interesting? Any watches that you've discovered lately that you think, hey, this is something I'd like to have? Well, what do you say? Nothing? We're going to talk about watch taboos today. Um, so we'll get started on that in a bit. Hang on a sec. Realize that I like watches and that Russian oligarchs would wear. That's okay. Uh, hey, Stress Factor 9. A little crackling, but otherwise, the crackling, don't bother that. That's just my bones when I move. Hi, Dwayne. How you doing? Tony, how are you? Ah, this is the Ralph Lang. Um, let's see, Ralph Lang Dresden Canatello Precise Gray. This thing has been on a 13 state odyssey. It's been all the way from Connecticut to California to Washington State to Ohio, Illinois, Louisiana, Oklahoma. Been all over the place, and uh, everybody had it for a month. And we got to sort of and talked about it. It's a really nice watch. I mean, one of these ones that you could just feel the quality all over it, and it was wonderful to have. And we're very grateful to Rolf Lang for lending it to us. So, anyway, hey Pedro, what's up? Okay, so let's talk about taboos, watch collection taboos, and sort of what I wanted to talk about before I get going. The watch that I have on today is my one that is I really like a lot. It's a big watch. It's by H. Moser, and it's their Henry double hairspring. And the double hairspring, for those of you who aren't aware of it, is something that you've got one hairspring flipping that way and then another one flipping the other way. And the idea is that it offsets the torque of one offsets the other. And the question, does it work? And the answer, very much so, which is sort of cool. They quit making it because it was too expensive. I mean, it was the engineering behind all of that was very expensive. So that's why. Anyway, and it's sort of hard to see in the light. It's a nice watch, but not the easiest. Okay, for a lot of people, replacing a Rolex with a non-Rolex is a huge taboo. Certain people are still mad at me. In other words, that happens when you grow up, you know? There's sort of like, if we had to add an age to watch collection, I think people go through different ages, and one might be the Rolex age. But, hey, 24 karat. Oh, um, what does anyone know about DeWitt? I know about DeWitt. DeWitt's all over the map. They have some really good buys. There's but before I got a DeWitt, what I would do, I would check with first of all what movement they're using. Usually, if you buy a DeWitt, they don't tell you what movement's inside. You probably don't want to buy it. Not always true, but generally so. You need to know what's inside those things because I think some of them have really interesting movements. But and some of their watches are very interesting. But by and large, with DeWitt, that's at least the way I look at it. I don't own one, and Unless something changed, I probably wouldn't, but that's me. Somebody may have one and love it, and I'm all wet. So, anybody have anyone have one? Yeah. Hey, Al, listen. Don't listen to me. Ask a lot of different people. That trying to get a. Well, this is one of the things I want to talk about today. I want to talk about taboos. Um, the other day, I posted a watch, and it had a power reserve, not a power reserve indicator, but a date window, and it was a Parmigiani, and it had the date window with 3 dates. I don't know why I like that, because I can see what yesterday was and what tomorrow is going to be, without having to do the math and take my gloves off and count my fingers. Um, and it's just something I like, and I've always liked it. Well, there was a guy who didn't like it, and that's okay. This is what's so crazy about watch collection. There's things I like and other people don't like. There are things they like and I don't like. That's all right. We don't all have to like the same thing, but some people turn into raving Nazis if oh, you can't do that. And this one guy said, well, he couldn't, if he had to make a watch with 3 dates, he couldn't have been a very good watchmaker. He was one of the best watchmakers in the world. I keep thinking of pictures of him with holding 2 Grand Prix awards. And this guy says, oh, that's what it must be because it doesn't go with his taste. What a jerk thing to say. I just got like, what is wrong with these people? I mean, it's like they grew up and they beat them every day to make sure that they wouldn't, stray from the line or something. But that really, it's just sort of like innovation. What innovation? We don't want innovation. We want everything to look alike. And I find that really um, aggravating. Okay. That's another thing, another jerky thing to say, oh, it's sad. It's not sad because I disagree with you. What's sad is being too dull to come up with anything else. So, anyway, taboos are, oh, ignore them. At least I think we should. And if there's something we don't like, boy, I mean, people can't just dislike it. They got to rave about it, how bad and ugly and terrible and stupid and this and that and that. And by and large, the less they know about watches, the louder they are. Because if you don't know anything, instead of being, providing reasons, scream. But anyway, I'm just sort of anti-taboo. Part of it, it was sort of something funny happened to me a long time ago when I was in college. I was taking this anthropology course, and we were talking about taboos, and as a universal kind of taboo, and going on about it one thing or the other. And the guy teaching the class had a guest speaker. So this, I don't know, phantom watches. And she had this big staff, big staff. And at the time, we had wooden floors. This was back a long time ago when this was the University of California at Santa Barbara was still building and so forth, and so they had used the old Marine barracks left over from World War II. So here were all these old Marine barracks that they had fixed up into classrooms, and so here comes this boom, looked like Moses with this big staff, and whenever she made a point, she whap hit the floor with it. Like somebody would even about to disagree with anything she said from something that we had read or learned, he would take that staff and go, boom, no, that's not the way it is. It was Margaret Mead. And I thought that was always sort of fun. So when I think about taboos, I think of Margaret Mead, her giant staff on those wooden floors. And it's sort of like, it was funny back then, and it's still funny. Okay. Franken watches that use generic parts or even repainted dials that just try to pass the original. Abdul, yeah, this is that kind of thing. Now, as a pretentious watchmaker in good standing myself, um, people who put together watches from different things uh, just because they want to. And they create a Frankenwatch. That's one thing. And they're not trying to sell it. They're not trying to pass it off as anything else. But they can afford this and they can afford that. So they go to eBay and they buy a piece here and a piece there and slap it together, and they got something working. It's really unique. Um, that doesn't bother me. If somebody tries to pass off a Frankenwatch as I think I saw Vacheron Constantin 10. I don't know what kind of they put it in some kind of case that wasn't Vacheron Constantin, and they did some other stuff and created a Frankenwatch, and it was pretty bad. But other than that, anyway. Hey, old English 91. Hi, Clyde. How you doing, man? It wasn't an anthropology class at the time. It was instead labeled current events. Yeah. Yeah, back then. It wasn't an ancient history class. It was called current events or anthropology. Okay. Well, anyway, this is, I think that Val said at the outset that he got in trouble when he quit. When he went from buying Rolexes to something else, people got upset. Why would they be upset? I mean, it's sort of like, it's not your watch, it's not your money, so what do you care? But some people they just go crazy, and I think that they were, like they were brought up in a cage, and they were given kibbles if they said something that someone agreed with, and they were shocked if an electric shock if they said something that they disagreed with. So you got, I don't know where people get this. A lot of these, I don't know, I call them fascist notions that there's no reason for it that I can see. And what good does it do? And boy, you talk about stifling creativity. I mean, uh, there are lots of watches that I just don't like the designs of at all. Some of them are, like millionaire watches. For example, Richard Mille. Um, I don't care for his watches. I don't like that kind of style. I don't like it on the new Roger Dubuis, the sort of skeletonized ones. But on the other hand, I like the ones that they have on the Breguet um, tradition. And it sort of looked like something that old Abraham Louis put together. But if somebody likes that skeletonized dial, so what? I mean, they like it. Good for them. This is what drives me crazy is people have to almost try to bully their opinion through, and like, what for? Um, you take for example, you take something like this regulator, okay, and people say, well, they get all squawky about regulators, and they have no idea what they are. They have no idea about their history. They just want something to squawk about. So, anyway, hey, GMT Master, how you doing, man? Um, isn't it really about disregarding prejudices, uh, i.e., all 36 millimeter? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a type of prejudice. But worse, prejudices are a type of, I don't know, almost stupidity. Hi, Paul. How you doing, man? Um, you have, I guess it's intolerance. And where that comes from, all the most interesting, fun things I think in life are from people who try something different. And let me give you an example. This is how far some people go. I was at a meeting one day, and I had cooked up compote. And all compote is that you take a bunch of different kinds of fruit, you chop it up, you put it in the oven for a while, and then it heats up, and then all of the different fruit tastes get together, and it's really good. So I like compote. So I was talking to some women about it, We were swapping recipes over the back fence. Anyway, so I was telling about how I made my compote. I got the apples and the type of apples that I use, and so on and so forth. And I like to put a little lemon juice on it, make it tart and stuff like that. So we were talking about that. And this one woman said, "You didn't peel the apple?" I said, "No, I like it with the apple skins on it." She had a fit. She went bonkers, like, "Oh, I've never heard of that before," headed for the fainting couch. I don't know why people get that way. That sounds interesting. Oh, I think I'll try it. I don't know. Hey, Fahrenheit, how you doing? Still haven't assembled my Orient Bambino 40 millimeter, disassembled because of Bill. I didn't I tell you, if you follow my instructions and it doesn't work out, to forget where you heard about it? That was part of the deal, if I remember correctly, Fahrenheit. Hey, Tennessee, how you doing? Yeah, there's a lot of herd mentality. I got this great picture that I got. I got to put it up somewhere, and it shows all of these cows' rear ends, and that's the view from the herd. You're in the middle of the herd. All you see is the view never changes. Hey, John, how you doing? Yeah, well, better late than never, I guess. I realize that resale value is important for people who flip, but not for collectors who keep their watches. Yeah, I mean, if I were flipping watches and I wasn't, and I would make sure that I'd only buy things that I could sell. And you know, that was one of the decisions when I got my Chronomet Resonance. I just liked resonance. I was so excited about the whole idea of resonance. Well, that stupid watch was shot to the moon, and they just sold one for $1.2 million. It was the platinum version, and I have the gold version, but it was from the same era. Well, that thing is worth a lot more money than I paid for it, but it's not worth a dime more as a horological value. So that's not going to change. If it dropped to 15 cents, same watch, value didn't change, but the price that people are willing to pay for it did. So what? Val, that's I'm with you on that. Hi, Raj. I'm intolerant with tolerant people. Yeah, yeah, Raj. That's what you know. I it's not so much. I don't mind they're intolerant. They go around with stick up their rear end. I could care less. Just don't put it on me. I mean, they try to convince me, well, it should be this way. Like that, someone said, well, he must not have much talent if he didn't do it the way I like. I thought, what a jerk. What a jerk. The only words that came to mind. But again, like Rod said, I being intolerant with the intolerant. Hey, Richard Israel, how you doing, man? Oh, let's see. If you ask them what else is important or good besides resale value, these people have. You're right, Val. That's a good point. They spend all their time like, just get a $100 bill, strap it on your wrist, and wait 10 days, and it'll be the same $100. Uh, hey, Tony, what's up? Let's see. Hey, True Junior, the baking couch. That's funny. Okay. Finally, you guys were right. The Rolex 7753 doesn't exist. Well, I gotta start telling people who've been bugging me about getting a Rolex. I'm gonna say, yeah, I got the 7753. And if you don't know about it, you don't know Rolexes. That'd be fun to do. Uh, Please don't send Don G. Lloyd a link to join you. Okay, I won't. Oh, I. Oh, let's see. Okay. Well, let's find out where everybody is in terms of. We've got a heat wave right now. I mean, this for those of you in the United States, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing well, like the rest of the world, but we're dealing with the most incompetently handled pandemic. We have a heat wave. I think it's all over the U.S., but especially in the Southwest. and the West, but we got it here too, plus humidity, and then plus we're all we're all cooped up. Things are looking up. Uh, the only ones that just think this is a heavenly time are everybody's dog. The dog saying it's about time this pack got together and stuck together. It's and so the dogs will remember this as the happy times. Is this hobby isn't picking a Rolex almost like going to a fancy restaurant and ordering off the kids menu? Yeah, going going to a four-star restaurant. I think I'll have waffles from the kids menu. Something that everybody likes. I oh man, I tell you, you talk about the crazies coming out of the bushes. When I well, yeah, there was on Friday's video we had Friday, good grief, Friday, yesterday's video, we had all of these different watchmakers, and boy, people, oh, that's the ugliest watch I've ever seen. Oh, that's terrible. But a lot of stuff that they missed were some very cool things that were going on inside those watches that I had never seen before. And so I thought, wow, and I'm looking at this stuff going, wow, and people are like, oh, it's like that woman who's, oh, you can't cook apples that are still have the skins on. You'll turn into a zombie. That was sort of the attitude. But I don't know. I guess I don't know what happens to people that way. I really don't. But that's me, and what do I know? Okay, what's going on? Let's say, hey, Dwayne. Adam Smith's supply side economics and the invisible hand theory, Rolex versus Omega movements. How about this? See what is Rolex claim to fame right now as far as movements are concerned? They've got a I don't know what have they done lately. What has Omega done? They do have the coaxial escapement. I don't know, but see, the thing is, to me, that it's not an argument I'm interested in, because I'm not that interested in either one of those right now, if except for the Prince. And I like the fact that the Air King has the same movement as the Milgauss, but costs $2,000 less. And the best technology that I know of in current Rolexes is the Yachtmaster 2, and most Rolex fans hate it. So, I mean, I, I, get, I think I'd be run out of a Rolex group on a rail. Uh, what are the ghost perspectives on the pandemic? I don't know if the goats are getting out as much as they should. Uh, our pears are starting. What happens is that when we have a couple pear trees and a couple apple trees, and when those start dropping or the squirrels knock them down, I throw them over the fence to the goats, and the goats just they love it. But I've been out there lately, and it's been too hot for the goats. The grass out in the meadow behind our house where the goats like to have lunch and dinner and breakfast is getting sort of high, and I got to spend more time with the goats. That's the other thing. Going outside, my God, we have deer, and deers come crumbling by, and that's fine. But also, they have their friends, the deer tick, and the deer tick is related to, the Lyme disease. So that's it. Not to mention the bears. I don't know what the bears are doing. How'd you like to be a black bear and have nothing but the same coat to wear all the time? That'd be rough. Hi, Tim. How you doing, man? Um, hey, and there's something. How's it going, Stefan? Oh, let's see. Watch movements matter. Yes, Tim, they do. That's a good way of putting it. That's another thing. Look at this is just United States. I think like there's got to be a calm place on Earth. Maybe southern Patagonia, or there's one island somewhere that this stuff, the bug hasn't hit, the pandemic hasn't hit yet, but a place that has not hot, humid weather that is reasonable. I don't know. Um, Oh God. Um, so that's what I was thinking about taboos. What are some other taboos? Can you think of any watch taboos that you run into that like whoa, hey, watch and pray. Yeah, that's what I do when I order a watch. Watch and pray. How do I ensure I get one watch project you are working on? I want in. Oh, the watch project. I tell you, the thing of it is that uh, one of the problems watch and pray is that on the watch projects is that the watchmakers are sort of all over the place right now. They're having obviously supply problems, and there we would be the at the end of a very long line of people that are selling movements to. So I sort of am thinking more of like, let's just sort of do it on our own and see what we can come up with. A lot of different people's had some really good ideas. I'd still like of all of the watch things I've seen is the sort of the modified jumping hours with the retrograde minutes. I still like that, but getting a there. Well, let me say this: I after looking at some of these other watchmakers, I've seen some of these watchmakers have some really interesting jumping hours with the retrograde. So that's another source that we might look at. Hi, Lee. Um, so these are some of the things that I think we may have to do. A number of other people have been they've been going to, and I think what uh, somebody just talked about when it's Val was it talking about marriage watches or Franken watches, and that's another possibility. They go into eBay and they find a part here and a part there and a part there, and see if they can cobble together something like that. So right now, I mean, if something comes up, if I hear from Aganor and they say, "Hey, okay, now we got some little time. Let's talk about what you want to do." Definitely, I'll tell everybody about it, and everybody who wants to get involved, I'll make sure they get involved because we have a really good plan set up, but the sort of the problem is in the movement because we got who was it? Wooten, Lannon, and Colin cases. They're all set. This guy is going to who I've got to go visit as soon as we can visit safely. Is got the enamel dial. I think the only thing we have missing right now is the movement. Now the Wooten, Lannon, and Callan cases. I'm sure they're going to charge based on one, how many we're going to need and how close it is to something else they already use. Those are things that we got to deal with. Hey, Eddie, how's it going? Um, Tony, let's see, taboo quiz quartz movements. Well, yeah, that's a good one. I mean, it's a good point to bring up a quartz movement. I've got nothing against quartz movements. I just don't have anything for them. I mean, if someone says, "Hey, I got a quartz movement," well, I want to talk about mechanical movements, because that's what I'm talking about. Um, and not because I hate quartz, it's rather because it's sort of another thing that is not involved with a purely mechanical watch. Brilliant stuff. The spring drive, FP Journes Elegante, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant quartz. But I'm not interested in that. Nothing wrong with it though. Um, no, don't, man. Listen, I'm the last guy. If anybody sends me money, I would do nothing but worry about it. So don't do it. Don't even think about it. Don't even consider it. Okay. Um, if I had all of the move, all of everything we needed, if they sent me everything, and I paid for it all, before I paid for it. I said, okay, who's in? And the ones who paid for it, I'd send it to. But I don't, man, I tell you, see, this is one of the problems. What are these? What are they called? The crowd funded ones. Somebody sends them a bunch of money, and the guy who prays that everything works out. Sometimes they do. Um, Sometimes they don't. One that I like that seemed to have worked out beautifully well is Ophion. Not crazy about the movement, but it's not, it's not sort of your run of the mill movement either. Okay, guys, it is 8:30, and I've got to run. And so here's what at 4 o'clock, which is this is New York time, 4 o'clock New York time. We'll be back. We'll talk some more. Hi, old bud. And I checked out STP movements. Not too sure about those, old buds. Sorry, but I did check them out. I think they have one that's pretty good though. Okay, opium, Ophion, Ophion. That's it. Hi, Indra. Oh no, UWD or SOPROD. Yeah, yep, yep. I think. Well, I like them both. UWD though, I'd much rather have. Um, I've got a SOPROD movement at A10, and that thing works perfectly. Okay, guys, got to run, and everybody like really stay safe and and don't watch the news. But take care. Some of you, I hope to see this afternoon.